Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and I have something I want to share with you real quick today. It is another adventure video from when I was in Canyon City, Colorado, outside of Colorado Springs. Had a day where got to go whitewater rafting in the morning on a very exciting river. It's fun, some fun time with that. Got myself in trouble as always on, well, not as always, but once again, wasn't the first time. Got myself in trouble on the river. Um, Story for another time. You got to come back for that one. And so that was in the morning. Had some downtime during the afternoon, and then in the evening, went for a sunset horseback ride on the high plains of Colorado. I don't know if you're a high plains drifter fan. I am, and it was a great ride. That's not the video I'm going to show you. Had plenty of time in between to tour around the area. It's very historic. It's gold country. So it's Royal Canyon Gorge, which is gold country, and that's where the river is at for the whitewater. Runs right through the center of Canyon City. So it's interesting when you go whitewater rafting, you actually come back into the city in the middle of town at one of the parks to for egress from the river to get out of the river. And so I had plenty of time to look around, and there is so much to see. I highly recommend if you have a chance to. Don't have a chance, make it a point to get out in that part of the country and see the sights. Colorado City is amazing all on its own. Canyon City is an incredible historical site. It's a wonderful town, great people, lots of good food, coffee shops, historic sites, plenty to do. Plus, there is this road that I'm about to share with you to go for a drive on. So I got to go for a drive on a ridge in a park. This is actually a park. It's a one-way road that overlooks Canyon City. So here's the incredible view of Canyon City, or part of it. So you can see looking across the plains of Colorado, kind of back towards Colorado City-ish. You can see some of the mountains off in the distance there. Just a beautiful, beautiful summer day when I was there. And so this is looking out the driver's side window to the left. And this was taken with our adventure cam. There's no audio, and here's why. The only audio that goes with this video is the radio that was playing in the background. Had a radio station on, playing some great country western tunes that fit so well with the environment. I do not have the licensing to spin that music, those songs, because those are commercial songs. I want to respect the artists that produced that music. So I'm just going to talk with you as we take a look. So take a look out the windshield. Check this out. This is the ridge that the road runs on. And when I say we're on a ridge, we're on a ridge. There's nothing. You've got just a couple feet on either side, and it drops down hundreds of feet. So check this out. This is just amazing. And this goes on for miles. So this road threads up onto the top of the ridge, and there's a spot to stop and enjoy the sights. Then it winds down the other side. It comes up the passenger side and winds down the driver's side back into the city. And it's a wonderful park area. And one of the things that really amazed, so check this out. This is like you're coming to the end of the world. Had no idea where this road was going. It's only a 25-mile-an-hour zone, which is like, to me, about the fastest safe speed you could possibly go. Would have loved to have been on a motorcycle for this, just because it was so beautiful. Not to try to do anything, anything crazy or any stunts with the motorcycle. It's just a beautiful environment. Would have been perfect for a motorcycle, given it was a nice, warm, humid day, fresh air. This is, I don't know, at least 500-600 feet up above the highway that you take to get to this park. And one of the things that I found on the road were there were markings, there were race markings where you can tell probably, I imagine the younger folks in the area probably doing that, maybe not, probably maybe some of the adults, but they had someone had marked off race points, and you could tell by the telltale black stripes from the wheels. Somebody was laying some rubber down and having some time trials or drag races. I don't know what they were doing, but it looked pretty crazy. And it's not a forgiving area, right? Because you look at this, if you swerve a couple feet to the left here, right, you're going to smack in to this mountain wall. There's nothing there. There's not enough room to pull off. There's enough room to get your tire off before your car door is going to start grinding against the side of the mountain. On this side, there isn't even enough room to get a tire off before you start going over the edge. And you get part of a tire off, and you're already going to start tipping. And this is a long way down. So check this out. You had this sense of coming up over this hill, and it happens again and again. You see, oh, okay, there's a little bit in front, dips down a little bit, comes back up. And that's the end of the clip. It's just the reason I wanted to share this was, as a leader, how often are you in this situation where, it's steady, really moving forward with purpose, being focused on what's going on in front of you. There's just so many distractions around, right? Because there's so much to look at. Such a beautiful area. There's so many distractions around here to enjoy the view. Because look, you can see the city over here out the driver's side window. This is looking back toward. There's an interstate, and looking back towards the river. You can see some of the road that's winding up, and a lot to look at. But if you get distracted off of this path, what happens? You don't have any room for error on either side, and it's going to be a bad day, likely a fatal crash, if you roll off of this mountain, because it is literally hundreds of feet up. As a leader, how often have you been in that position where you can see the safe path, and in this shot, there's a car. It's hard to see. It's off here in the distance that was just disappearing over the ridge. The section of the road starts to drop down and wind down. It was in front at that time. So again, it comes back to you as the leader. You can see where the safe path is. There's a safe pace to move forward. You can't deviate from that pace, and to get distracted is very dangerous. How often do you find yourself in that situation? Are you aware of that? Now, from a personal development standpoint, from a leadership development standpoint, how often do you put yourself in environments like this? Now, this isn't a crazy dangerous place to be. You drive slow, you obey the speed limit, tool along. It took a long time to go a relatively short distance because we're only going 15, 20 miles an hour the whole time, which made it possible to enjoy the journey by slowing the pace down a little bit, made it safe. But at the same time, this was truly a study, on a personal level of being forced to pay attention, to go it slower, step by step, right? I don't know about you, but I look at, see, okay, do something step by step by step. And I start thinking, okay, how can I skip some of these steps? In an environment like this, you can't skip the steps. When you're as a leader, do the people on your team have that same reaction? Do one or more of the people on your team have that same reaction? We're looking, okay, you're telling them, look, here's the path. You're showing them the path. You're showing them the dangers. And in business, it's not the same as this situation where if you stray off the path, you're going over a cliff and it's going to be a bad day at best. And it's not something you want to try out. It's like going over the Niagara Falls in a barrel. A couple people survive, but do you really want to risk that? So here, you really don't want to do that. You have to focus. So when you're explaining that to someone on your team, do you make it clear why they can't skip steps? Right? What the risks are, what the potential hazards are if they skip steps, why things need to be done a certain way. So this is a great, again, coming back to personal development, leadership development, this is a good experiential learning environment from the standpoint of, if you're being purposeful about it, if you're thinking about the experience, taking some notes afterwards, doing a personal after action report and thinking, what am I seeing here? What am I feeling? What am I experiencing? How does this apply to life? How does this apply to your business? To what the value you're delivering as a business person. You can learn a lot from it. I love being in environments like this. Plus, there were places to stop, to scout out and stop and enjoy the view. Let me pull this video back off here for you. There we go. So you can enjoy the view. Have some downtime. I'm going to talk a lot about that. It's hugely important. This was a great time where I just stop, put a timer on for about 15 minutes and just sat quietly and just soaked it in. Listen to the air, listen to the Miriam, how are you? God bless you too, my sister. Hope all is well with you in Miriam is joining us from, I believe, Afghanistan, and hope all is well with you. And again, it's that to just sit and steep in the environment, sit in the environment, let the chatter in my head calm and enjoy it. And then I was still on a schedule, so I knew how long I could sit and just be there, just enjoy the view, and moved on. But think about that. Coming back to this view, do you take opportunity of times like this to find the unexpected? Right? I had a couple hours between events. I was in Denver for an event, and I needed to go to Colorado Springs to have a meeting with someone. Scheduled time to go over to Canyon City. So I could have just done a quick turnaround, right? Could have zipped down from Denver, gone to Colorado Springs, had the meeting, zip back to where I was staying in Denver, and sat down, done some right, get back to work, and then off to my next meeting in Denver. Didn't do that. Blocked off some time so that I could explore Canyon City, and I'm so glad that I did. Now it's a place that I want to take other people. I'd love to take a group, have a group of folks go and do the whitewater rafting, do the horseback riding, to be able to sit, create a picnic, take a couple cars or group of motorcycles would be even better. If you're an experienced rider, take a group of people and be able to sit someplace like this, enjoy this view, and have a picnic. What would that be like? And do you schedule time to do stuff like that when you have the opportunity to look beyond just the immediate meeting? Especially during the great shutdown, we're all spending way too much time indoors. Well, I won't speak for you. Let me rephrase that. Are you creating time to be out, to go for a walk, to do things, even if it's just going outside, sitting in the yard? I was on the phone for an hour and a half, had my shoes off, feet in the grass, I was wiggling my toes in the grass. Man, it felt so good to be connected to the ground. I love that. When's the last time you felt the grass on your bare feet? Neighbor kids were laughing and giggling. I just laughed and giggled along with them. I go, yeah, that's right. And they're like, oh, they got all shy and cruised along. When you do stuff like that, it makes a big difference. It's back to working on mindset, working on the paradigm, the frame that you're looking at the world through. This is a very different frame to be able to see things through. Made for a very, very different experience on what could have been it was a very successful, very high value business trip when I was in Denver on this particular trip. But there was so much more that came out of that by taking this side adventure, making some time for it instead of just making every last single minute about what do I have to do tactically, right? It's like, how do you define your time when you block it off and you schedule it during the day? There has got to be recovery time. There has got to be spiritual time. There has got to be personal development time that is just as important to you, just as sacred to you as a client meeting that's blocked off with the same vigor. Get a chance to have experiences like this, which makes for great stories, great lessons, a lot of surprises. Had several surprises that came out of this, which will make for more fun topics at a later, at another time. But again, when make time to do stuff like that, even if it's a virtual world. Are you doing virtual tours? Are you exploring the video, the scenes, the live feeds that are available from cameras that are posted all over the world in order to see what's going on? We're staying connected globally, right? Physical distancing, socially gathering and connecting through technology. That's a little far afield from the point that I wanted to make with that perspective, right? Being able to see this different perspective. Let me back this up, right? So this is a lot different seeing the world from here, right? From the ridge, backing this up, here we're driving backwards, to looking across the cityscape as opposed to when you're down on the streets. So how do you get from driving the streets, your day-to-day business, to, let me advance this again, to being able to see a very different view, looking at the bigger picture, seeing farther ahead, broader across with what's going on around you. Doing it physically like this does have an impact. Experiential learning, it really does. It affects the mind, the way the brain's wired, the memories you have, the experiences you have, and expands your perspective when you're in other situations. Experiential learning is hugely important. So I leave you with that. Take advantage of being able to explore beyond just what's immediately in front of you. And in the comments, let me know. Have you had adventures like that? Have you got video, photos? Yeah, share some of that stuff. Love to see it. Love to see what your adventures have been, what you've learned from them. Share it in the comments. Hit the like button as you're watching this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please share this out with your friends. Deeply appreciate it. I'll give you a shout out. Share it and let me know, and I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out. And we'll find other ways to say thank you as we're going along. So this is Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf. Thanks for being with us, and I will see you on the trail.